Hello and welcome to World Talks on TVP World, where every word matters. My name is Don Arleth. As the EU elections are well behind us, much still remains to be settled, including who will get the bloc's top jobs. This is supposed to be settled during meetings from June 27th to 29th, but will it? With this meeting just around the corner, now it's time to explore whether the front runners are truly decided and what other options there may be. For this, I'm joined by Magdalena Bainczyk, Chief Analyst at the Institute for Western Affairs. Hello, and thank you for joining us on TVP World.
Good evening.
Now, with all the key positions in the European Union, will all those key positions, will they be occupied after the meetings on June 27th to 29th? Are there any leaks that may indicate that something else might be in the works?
I think it should be occupied, but nevertheless, we have several aspects which should be carefully analyzed, because we join all these process with action to the European Parliament. But in fact, we have at least 4 chief positions in the European Union, namely the President of the European Commission, the President of European Council, the President of European Parliament, and the High Representative for Foreign and Security Policy. And only one of these positions is directly influenced by the elections to the European Parliament, namely the President of the European Commission. So to a certain extent, we may be sure that the candidate to this position will come from the EPP. But on the other hand, we are not sure about other 3 positions, because they are not directly linked to the elections to the European Parliament, because the President of the European Parliament and the President of the European Council and the High Representative, in accordance with the treaties, they are not so closely linked to the question of the European Parliament, and especially the President of European Council and the High Representative. So I would like to admit that all these things should be also nominated in relation to geographical and demographical diversity. And as so far as we see, we have candidates from the Germany, namely Ursula von der Leyen for the position of the President of the European Commission, Antonio Costa as a future President of the European Council, and Roberta Metsola as a President of European Parliament, and Roberta Metsola is from Malta, and Kaja Kallas as a candidate for the position of the representative of for the security and foreign policy from Estonia. So for sure, we do not have this diversity in geographical and demographical measure. It is declared in Declaration number 6 to the Treaty of Lisbon.
Now, Renew Europe, one of the 3 groups that incumbent European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen hopes will back her for a second term, has lost seats in the European Parliament at the hands of Andrej Babis from the Czech Republic. Now, how will this and to what extent could this affect Ms. von der Leyen's bid?
I am a little bit surprised about the candidacy of Ursula von der Leyen for 2 reasons. Because one reason is for sure that with the Renew election, a new nomination of Ursula von der Leyen, directly this geographic and demographical diversity will be not observed, because it will be the second turn for Ursula von der Leyen. During the last 20 years, please note that we celebrate as Central Europe as a whole the celebration of our membership in the European Union, and we do not have any chance to nominate the president of the European Commission. So I do believe that maybe you will support Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, but I am not so sure is this nomination will be good for the European Union as a whole, and especially for Central Europe, because the Central Europe, our program is also the title to a certain extent, Central Eastern Europe, is not enough represented at the level of the key position in the European Union.
Right, and why exactly do you think that is? In terms of selecting, say, a new NATO Secretary General, for instance, Kaja Kallas wasn't considered just because of her hawkish position. Now, do you think at the same position, President of the European Commission, again, perhaps the same concerns are held by some Western European countries that if indeed they selected somebody from Central and Eastern Europe, due to the current circumstances with Russia, that could be a problem? Or maybe something else?
I believe that exactly in current circumstances, we need a strong voice of Central Europe at the chief position of the European Union. So, of course, Kaja Kallas is nominated to a certain extent, of course, as High Representative and Security Policy. But nevertheless, this is not the most important position. The most important, definitely, position is the President of the European Commission. And we also have to think about the whole composition of the positions, because we think also about the Secretary General of NATO and Mark Rutte. And again, the Central Europe is not represented enough at that level. And of course, Estonia is a member, a very important member of European Union in the line with the conflict with Russia. But nevertheless, we have much more support from so-called bigger or mid-sized members of the European Union in Central Europe. I mean Poland, Romania, but also Greece. To a certain extent, also the Prime Minister of Greece was reconsidered as to the certain positions at the level of the European Union. And it is actually a pity that we do not have chance as Central Europe to give our voice to the most important position at the European Union level. And the European Union also, to a certain extent, NATO, is still very strong influence by so-called old member states. And these old member states, I mean, for first of all, France, Germany, but also Netherlands, Belgium, and Luxembourg. They are not so influential in the means of economy or military support, for example, in relation to Ukraine, but nevertheless, they are still very decisive in European matters. So for sure, I see a need for a certain coalition among leaders of Central Europe to support our candidates and to be more supportive for the leaders at the European Union level. To have only Kaja Kallas as a high representative for foreign and security policy, I think it is still not enough, and to have Ursula von der Leyen for all these decisions of European Commission, which were very strong, criticized, also in relation to Ukraine, I don't think so. It is a good solution to challenge Ursula von der Leyen for the second term. I would like to underline that this is in the line with so-called lead system, lead candidate system. So the EPP won the election to the early European Parliament, that the EPP has a right to nominate a candidate for European Commission. But it is really so unnecessary to nominate again Ursula von der Leyen for the second term of next 5 years. I am really disappointed about this fact.
Well, let's talk about Poland for a second. I mean, Poland's also vying for deputy positions or also commissioner for EU expansion. What do you think that Poland can expect in terms of that type of representation? Will Poland come away with some of these vice positions, if you will, or deputy positions? And in what areas do you think it's likely to gain such positions?
Absolutely, it's necessary for Poland to have a strong position within the European Commission. Our contribution towards support of Ukraine, our role for the security of full Europe has to be considered by other member states, by all member states. I hope even for a position of a vice president of European Commission. Why not? Why we shouldn't just be ready to take a position as a vice president of the European Commission, for example, and be supported by other member states. Maybe this is a kind of political fiction, but nevertheless, I think the position of Poland in European Union, our position for the security of Europe, is so vital that we should have to challenge this position for sure, or for as a very important commissar, I mean internal market, for example, or also foreign trade. This is the positions which should be recognized as a position for such countries as Poland, definitely. So we shouldn't be so modest. We shouldn't be more active at the level of the European Union, and we should activate also support of other member states from the Central Europe, with this conviction that we will also represent the interests of our co-partners in Central Europe. But nevertheless, nowadays, Poland is not very mentioned by mass media or different sources of information at the European level. And this is the sort of point of my concern, that maybe our policy should be more active, just to take a position equal to the position of France and Germany, having in mind even the Weimar Triangle.
Well, perhaps if there was a little bit more unity amongst the politicians of our region, maybe that would become a little bit more possible. But Magdalena Bainczyk, Chief Analyst at the Institute of Western Affairs, thank you for sharing your thoughts on this matter. And of course, the dust hasn't settled yet, so we'll see what it looks like when it does. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.